Assalamualaikum everyone, I'm Iman. In this video, we will convert our remaining .jsx files to .tsx since now we are using TypeScript in our app and we will troubleshoot the errors coming in our way. So stick to the end as it's important to be able to continue building our app. Firstly, let's convert all our .jsx files to .tsx extension. So let's open up source folder. Okay, so these are our assets and let's open components folder and let's start by converting our all-inclusive .jsx to all-inclusive .tsx. Avatar.tsx, browse by type.tsx, browse section.tsx, card.tsx, explore section.tsx, footer.tsx, guest card.tsx, hero.tsx, homepage cards.tsx, navbar.tsx, searchbar.tsx, and finally text.tsx. Okay, let's check. Okay, all of them are converted. Let's close components and open up config. Okay, it's .ts. Let's open up context. It's tsx. Let's open up forms. Okay, these are all .tsx extension. Let's open layout and convert it to tsx. Okay, so we are getting an error. We will resolve it once we will convert our files. Let's check inside lib folder. It's utils.ts. Let's check other files. Add hotel.tsx. Let's convert home to tsx. Register.tsx and sign in.tsx and finally app.tsx. Let's also convert main.jsx extension to .tsx. Okay, we are having an error in here. We will resolve these errors later in the video. Okay, so now every file is converted to .tsx. If we go to homepage cards.tsx file, we are getting two errors. Let's resolve this one first. We need to define where we want this link to redirect us. To define the path, we will have to attribute and inside curly braces, since it will be dynamic, backtick /detail $sign curly braces and hotel._id, and it will redirect us to the details page of a hotel on which the user has clicked. Now let's resolve this error. It says binding element hotel implicitly has any type. It basically means that we haven't defined prop type. We need to create it. So inside source folder, create a new folder called shared and inside a file name types.ts. In this file, we will have all possible types of our app. This folder's original place is in the backend folder, but we haven't started creating it yet. That is the reason we have placed it in here. In this file, we will have all possible types of our app. This folder's original place is in the backend folder, but we haven't started creating it yet. That is the reason we have placed it in here. But when the time comes, we will create the backend and move this folder to it. Now let's create our type called hotel type and define our types of props in here that the components can access. So in here Underscore ID is a type of string. We have given underscore ID because that's how the ID property is stored in the database document, and it will be type of string. And after that we will have user ID, which will be type of string, key, which will be type of string, name string, city will be type of string, country string, description which will also be string, type string, adult count which will be type of number, child count which will also be type of number, facilities which will be type of array because there will be multiple facilities for a single hotel, price per night which will be type of number, star rating which will be type of number, image URLs which will be an array of strings because there will be multiple image URLs. And let's export our type so that we will able to use it inside our components. To be able to use the type, make sure that you have renamed the file name extension .tsx, and in here we will define hotel's prop type. So hotel will be type of hotel type, which we will import. We are using inline types. It's a bit messy. What we can do instead is create a type called props and define hotel's type to hotel type that we have imported from add/shared/types, and make sure that you have defined the type attribute while importing a type. And in here we can simply assign props. Let's save it. Let's do the same for other files. Okay, we don't need props in here. Inside browse by type.tsx we are having an error. Let's hover on it. It says cannot find module or its corresponding type declarations. Let's see how we can fix it. The issue is that the Slick Carousel package is not installed in your project. You need to install it using npm or yarn to resolve the missing module error. We have already installed it. I wonder what's wrong with it. Anyway, let's install it again. Let's copy it and open up our terminal, and in here let's clear our terminal and say npm install slick-carousel. Okay, so it's installed. We are still having an error. For the time being, let's remove it and let's start our server by command npm run dev. To start our local development server, let's inspect it. The server responded with main.jsx, a status of 4 of 4, not found. Okay, so it's related to main.jsx file. This is because we have changed the main.jsx file extension to .tsx. We will resolve it later in the video. Let's undo it and comment it out. In here we also need to define props. So before this function we will define a type called arrow props, and we will reuse this type for these two functions. We will define type for this onClick prop. So onClick, it will be optional and it will be type of mouse event handler and HTML div element. Now let's assign this type for this prop. Props will be type of arrow props. Let's do the same for sample previous arrow function. Okay, so now the error is gone. Mouse event handler HTML div element is the correct type for a click handler on a div. The question mark makes onClick optional since sometimes we may not pass it. Wrapping it in an arrow props type keeps our component clean and reusable. Let's close our files. Now inside browse section.tsx, let's comment CSS imports. Since the type are same, let's copy it from browse by type, and before the next arrow function, let's paste it and import our mouse event handler from React, and make sure to define type attribute, and props will be type of arrow props. Let's do the same in here. Props will be type of arrow props. Let's open card.tsx. Cannot find module or its corresponding type declarations. We will fix it later in this video, don't worry about it. Now let's go to explore section.tsx and let's copy arrow props type, and before the previous arrow function, let's paste it. And let's import mouse event handler, and props will be type of arrow props. And let's also define current slide type. Current slide will be type of number. And let's do the same for next arrow props. Props will be type of arrow props, and slide count, current slide and slides to show will be type of number. Okay, so we have defined the types in here. We are having another error. Let's see what it says. Type slides to show number is missing the following properties. To resolve this, we have set slide count and current slide property to 0. Let's close it and open up footer.tsx. Let's remove this import since we don't need it, and let's open up guestcard.tsx. Let's define types in here. Copy arrow props type and paste it in here. Let's import mouse event handler from React, and props will be type of arrow props. Let's do the same in here. And let's remove this number int. Since now we are using plain number value, we will resolve it, don't worry about it. Let's close this file and open up hero.tsx. And homepage cards, we don't need it in here. Let's open up navbar.tsx. We are having an error while importing a file with .css extension. The reason this error happens is because TypeScript doesn't natively understand non-code imports like .css files. When we write import ./navbar.css, TypeScript tries to resolve it as a module but can't find type declarations for .css. Hence, we have this error. The simplest solution is inside source folder, create a new file called global.d.ts, and in here we will say declare module. Now we will be able to import any file with .css. Now the error with .css imports is gone. Let's do the same for our image files. So in here, let me paste it. It says whenever someone imports a file with these file extensions, treat them as modules, and the imported file extension will be represented as a string. And export default value allows default import syntax. Now we will be able to import any file with any of these extensions. Now as you can see, the error is gone, and inside tsconfig.json, after the compiler option, make sure to define include property and set its value to an array, and inside string add source to make sure the include section covers the source folder. After changing tsconfig.json, and we can start our server. So let's see inside hero.tsx and homepage cards. Okay, so now let's see inside search bar, text toast. Okay, so we don't have any error in components folder and config. Let's say inside app context.tsx we are having an error. If we look in here, it's capital T. Let's rename it. Now the error is gone. Let's close it and open up forms. All of them are .tsx and there isn't any error. Let's check in layout.tsx. Let's define type for children prop, interface props, and children will be type of React node. So any possible type in React. If we remove interface and use type instead, we need to define equal sign. You can use any of them, it's up to you. It comes down to personal preferences. If we hover on it, as you can see, represents all of the things React can render. Where React Elements only represents JSX, React Node represents everything that can be rendered. Okay, we don't have any error. Let's see. We have some error inside home.tsx. You don't have to worry about these errors as they will be resolved once we will create our backend. So let's close our file, and same goes for register and sign in file. So let's close them. So we haven't have any problem in them. Now inside main.tsx file, in here we have an error, and that's because we have converted our file into .tsx extension. So in here what we will do simply is before create root, we will say react DOM dot create root. Let's remove this create root import. Let's import react DOM from react-dom/client. Okay, and in here after the root we will have exclamation mark react DOM.create root. This is the React 18 plus way of creating a concurrent root. It replaces the older React DOM.render method. It enables new React features like concurrent rendering, automatic batching, and transitions. Finds the DOM element with ID root. It's usually a div with ID root in index.html. The exclamation mark is a TypeScript non-null assertion operator telling the compiler, I'm sure this element exists. The render method mounts your React component tree into the root DOM node. Everything inside strict mode is what gets rendered. A React wrapper that activates extra checks and warnings in development, helps catch unsafe lifecycle methods, unexpected side effects, and ensures compatibility with future React features. A custom context provider we have defined in previous video. It supplies global state to the entire app via React context. Any component inside app can consume this shared state without prop drilling. Our main application component, this is the entry point where our apps, UI and logic begin. Let's go to the booking folder by command cd booking and run npm run dev to start a local development server. Let's open up the browser and refresh our page. We have an error. It's about main.jsx. Let's open up our terminal. Failed to load URL. Does the file exist? So if we go inside index.html, let's correct it. We have renamed the file extension to .tsx. Let's save our file and let's start our server. If we go to the browser and refresh our page, okay, our app is working, as you can see. Now let's push our code to GitHub. If we open up source control, first we need to stage all changes, and then we will write a message called converting.jsx to TSX. And if we click on More Actions button and press Commit and Push, now our changes will be pushed to GitHub. So let's go to the GitHub and refresh our page. Here is our latest commit, converting .jsx to TSX. And that's it. We have successfully converted our files from .jsx to .tsx extension. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the next part of the series. So until next time, take care. Bye bye.